Emotions are weakness. And I know that's something that makes us human, so it may be hard for some people to fathom. But emotions, especially negative ones, are usually a form of unconsciousness. Now, what is unconsciousness? Well, unconsciousness is just identification with your thoughts and with your mind. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, am I not my thoughts? Like, I thought I am my thoughts. Like, no, you're not really your thoughts, because if you close your eyes and you say, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Your mind sits in silence, waiting for a thought to pop in your head. And then you realize that you are actually the watcher of your thoughts. There's a level of consciousness above your thoughts, and that is you. That's being. You are not your thoughts. You don't want to be identified with your thoughts. You actually want to be conscious at all times. You do not want to be identified with your thoughts, because if you are identified with your thoughts, then it allows your thoughts to control you, and it allows your emotions to control you. And this is once again why I say emotions are weakness. I like to call this concept emotional loops, which is basically just, for example, anger. Anger is a form of unconsciousness, especially if you fall victim to these angry thoughts. You're going to have these angry thoughts. For example, let's say you're trading and maybe you just got stopped out. They just barely stopped me out. Like, what the why did they just have to hit my stop loss? Like, why did they have to hit my stop loss then go up? Like, why does this always happen to me? And then you're getting angrier and angrier. And you're like, man, the market, man. Like, trading, I'm done with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're getting angrier and angrier. And as you start to identify with these angry thoughts, you start to also generate this vibration, this emotion of anger. And as you feel more angry, the frequency of your thoughts get angrier and angrier, and then it's fueling this emotion until you're stuck in this unconscious loop where your thoughts are now fueling your emotion, and the emotion is fueling your thoughts. And now you're in a state of unconsciousness. Your emotions are weakness, because especially in this state, your emotions and your thoughts are now going to control you. And this is why when people get really angry, they'll be like, oh my God, I don't know what I just did. Like, I'm so sorry, I blacked out.
You blacked out because you were unconscious. The emotion was controlling you.
And now, of course, emotions are something that make us human, and it's something that we actually need. We need to be able to feel. It's actually something that can be a strength in certain instances, but in instances where we need to be logical, your emotions are a complete weakness, because emotions will make us do illogical things and deviate from our trading plan, for example. In order for us to be successful in the trading environment, all we need is a profitable plan, and then just to minimize the amount of psychological errors that we make. And in order to do that, you must remain conscious, and you must be a watcher of your thoughts. You must be mindful of your thoughts. This is being conscious. You must also be self-conscious and understand what thoughts trigger certain emotions, and what instances, maybe things that happen in the market that will cause you to crash out, for example, to get angry. And then you start revenge trading, and then it's all patterns. Okay, just like trading, how it's pattern recognition, it's the same thing with our minds, because certain thoughts are going to trigger certain behaviors. Okay, our thoughts literally influence our behaviors. Okay, if you want to change your reality, quick tip, all you have to do is change your thoughts, because you change your thoughts, you change your behaviors. You change your behaviors, you change your self-identity. Okay, so all change is really just identity change. Okay, so you must, in order to become a consistently successful trader, you must adopt the right habits and thoughts of a successful trader. It's really that simple. That's really how easy it is once you understand psychology. But the thing is, a lot of people don't even dive into psychology, and I'm just going to explain psychology in general so you can use this in your regular day life, and then you can apply it to trading, of course. But for me, it's bigger than trading, because it's like people just need to understand how important knowing the self is, because once you understand thyself and you understand how your thoughts influence your reality, you also understand how other people's thoughts are influencing their reality and why they behave the way that they behave. Falling victim to your thoughts and your emotions is a weakness, because it puts you in a state of unconsciousness, and it makes you make psychological errors that can hinder your trading. The main emotions you want to stay away from are usually the negative emotions. So that's going to be what we can sum up all into pain. So that's anger, that's depression, that's grief, that's sadness. It's all of these negative emotions that make you feel some form of pain. Okay, a lot of people are going to have different personalities, so the way that they express their pain is going to be different. So you have to understand that for yourself. Okay, so the way out of pain is to be conscious. So you must be conscious of your thoughts. You must be a watcher of your thoughts. This is why every trader recommends that you journal, because in order to journal, you have to be a watcher of your thoughts. You have to be mindful of the thoughts that popped in your head and like, okay, this is what I thought while I was in this trade, and this is what happened. And you'll start to recognize, once again, patterns. Okay, everything in trading is patterns. Same thing with psychology. A lot of things are patterns, and certain thoughts and confluence of thoughts are going to result into certain behaviors. Okay, and you can read people's behaviors once you understand these things in real life. Okay, but you want to stay away from these bad emotions, because especially with anger, a lot of traders will revenge trade. Maybe they got barely stopped out, and then they get angry. They have these angry thoughts. They start to identify with these angry thoughts, and then they start to stir up this emotion of anger, and then they just get angry and angry until they're like, man, trading, man, like, I'm done with trading, man, like, I don't even care about that account no more, whatever. And then they start revenge trading. They start to do things that they wouldn't logically do, like their plan doesn't tell them to go in, but they're going in because of an emotion, weakness. Okay. You also have to stay away from good emotions as well, okay? Because even euphoria, which is something, it's so beautiful, it's something that can give you such an aura of confidence. You feel love, you feel at peace, you feel bliss. It's definitely beautiful, but in the trading environment, even euphoria is dangerous, and it's a weakness too, because most traders, especially when they learn how to trade, they get into this, what Mark Douglas calls the boom and bust cycle, which is basically they learn how to trade, and they know how to trade, but they don't know how to minimize their psychological errors, so then they end up usually crashing out, self-sabotaging, and then they lose their profits. Because they'll go on immense win streaks, right? They're on these win streaks, they made a whole bunch of money, maybe, you started with $100, now you're at $1,000, now you feel euphoric, you feel confident, but that euphoria is also a weakness because it's blinding, because now what happens is you're so confident, you believe you're going to be right on every single trade. In order to be a successful trader, you have to adopt the beliefs that a successful trader has. Okay, one of those beliefs is the market is random and unpredictable. Okay, and you also have to understand that your plan is going to have a random distribution of wins and losses. Okay, so you're not going to know which one's going to be a win. You just go in when you see your pattern that your plan tells you to enter on. That's it. Okay, but when you're in the state of euphoria, you're going to convince yourself that you're going to be right, and you'll even double down, you'll even risk the entire account in this one trade, and that may be the one that you lose. And then once again, boom, and then bust. Now the account's gone, and you're like, man, I don't know what happened. Yeah, you don't know what happened because you were unconscious. So I'm very mindful of my thoughts, and I try to make sure I don't fall victim to euphoria as well. And last week I went from $490 to $1,250. So I basically 150% of my account. I know the plan works, and I give it all to my students. I see them making profits every single day too. If you're not a member, link in the description. My goal is to create the perfect trading plan so that way I can really create unlimited wealth for myself and all my people. And in order for me to do that, I have to understand that yes, the plan is important, but my psychology is also just as important. Trading is actually 30% plan and 70% psychology. So when I take my account from $490 to $1,250, I feel amazing. I feel confident. I'm like, yo, all my hard work's paying off. Like my plan is being put into full effect, because actually that week I didn't have to deal with any psychology problems, because I just traded with the trend the entire week, didn't have any problems. I wasn't conflicted, I wasn't battling myself mentally. I was just in flow state the entire week, and I was able to flip the account. And that's because I was able to keep my psychology in check, and I already know I have a profitable plan. So with that together, you're able to flip $409 to $1,250, right? But then when I go into the next week, I'm very mindful of my thoughts. I'm like, okay, don't get cocky, don't get too confident. And what I ended up doing was, instead of putting in my normal lot size, which is a 0.50, I ended up putting in a 0.30 on Sunday. And that's because I rationalized to myself, I don't really trade on Sunday like that. I shouldn't even be doing that. I was like, I don't really trade on Sunday, so I'm not really gonna put in my normal lot size. I'm just gonna put in a 0.30 just in case, you know what I mean? And I won that trade. I woke up the next morning on Monday, and I was in profit, took profit, and then I left the runner. What I realized when I looked back at the trade was that I kept putting in these 0.30s, and I think it's just because I was becoming, once again, emotions are weakness. I was becoming identified with these thoughts of fear, because I understand that when I get too euphoric and I'm on a win streak, I tend to get overconfident and I start to make mistakes. But you have to understand that when your mind fears something and you start to identify with these thoughts of fear, and then you're feeling this emotion of fear, your thoughts get more and more fearful until you can only see what you're afraid of, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where you end up creating that reality. So because I was fearful of becoming too cocky, becoming too confident, I actually still deviated from the plan, even though I had such an amazing week the last week. I was letting fear control me now. Once again, emotions are weakness. Fear is actually the main cause of traders' mistakes. Like 95% of your mistakes are going to be because of fear. Like usually people will jump in early because of a fear of missing out. People will jump in late because of a fear of missing out. People won't jump in because they fear losing money or being wrong. It's usually due to some form of fear why you're going to make some mistakes in the trading environment. So you must understand how you must remain conscious and be a watcher of your thoughts and not become identified with these thoughts, because even though I was able to take $490 to $1,250, I'm doing a documentary on that too, probably one of the videos after this. Even though I was able to do that, emotions can still settle in even if I'm being conscious, because a lot of this, what I'm talking about, is from The Power of Now. I usually recommend Trading in the Zone, but The Power of Now is a very good book for becoming conscious and understanding how you can be the watcher of your thoughts and control your emotions and your thoughts, okay, and not let them control you. Because it talks about how a lot of people don't use their brain. A lot of people actually let their brain use them because they can't even turn off their thoughts. Okay, so that's something that you're going to have to learn. It's a skill you're going to have to learn if you want to be a consistently successful trader. I recommend getting that book. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Okay, so get that book. But you want to be as conscious as possible. You want to understand that, like, consciousness, it's going to take time. Like even when you're meditating, for example, when you're practicing consciousness, you're closing your eyes and you're trying to clear your mind of thoughts, but you're going to clear your mind of thoughts. A few seconds later, you're going to see more thoughts are in your head, and that's just going to happen because you're training this focus muscle in your brain, and it's going to, the unconsciousness is going to come through the back door because it's not your automatic state to be conscious yet. So you're just going to have to practice the state of being a watcher of your thoughts, being mindful of your thoughts, and not letting your thoughts control you, understanding you're not your thoughts. There's actually a level of consciousness above that, and that's where you need to be if you want to be a consistently successful trader, because the devil market, as I like to say, is going to try to induce you. It does a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of manipulation tactics that the market employs that is going to essentially try to piss you off. It's going to try to test your patience. It's going to try to get you emotional at every instance. And as soon as you get emotional, that's when you lose the battle. Understanding this is warfare. This is mental warfare. So understanding psychology and how to manipulate your thoughts and be a watcher of your thoughts and remaining conscious at all times is going to be your highest probability of success. As soon as you master your psychology and you have a profitable plan, you have no choice but to be successful. If you guys do want a plan that you can use to flip accounts like I did, like I said, I took 490 to 1250, how I basically 150% of the account, basically almost doubled it twice. Then you can click the link in the description and I will see you inside of paradise. This has been an episode of AP Psychology. I've always wanted to be a psychology teacher, so this is fun. But I'm just going to teach you guys all about just general psychology and how you can apply this to life, but how applying that to your life is going to improve your trading in general. So remember, emotions are weakness in any instance where you need to be logical. So remain conscious at all times. Be the watcher of your thoughts. Do not let your thoughts control you, because once your emotions control you, you become unconscious, and that's when you are most susceptible to making trading mistakes. I want to see every single one of you be successful. Let's get this money and let's fund paradise.
Until paradise.